Though we haven't got a film in it, but...
It's in the record.
Yeah.
Simulate, you know, death.
So, do you want, I mean, this
Marion is not an old lady yet, women.
No, I'm not an old lady yet. Well, they're all real. I won't be taking them and trying to get them good.
Yeah, has Jenny got a camera?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean...
Yes, it's over here. So is someone getting a video of that?
Well, I haven't got anybody to do it yet. I'm going to have somebody to her vicar's garb. She loves it.
But it's free, you're a unit, you're very integrated. There's nothing scripted, but there are unwritten rules.
On camera.
And you know certain people do things, they play.
How are you feeling?
And you've got to pick up the rhythm.
Yeah? As nervous as last year? Do you? Yeah, I haven't been through yet.
Adjust yourself to them. It won't happen the other way round.
But you can never go to sleep. You've got to be absolutely.
Yeah, and quick.
Yeah.
I think you enjoyed the challenge.
It's terrific therapy, just takes you out of yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
This is the place! Andre, up here!
All on your own now, Jesus, are we?
You prisoner, Jesus Christ! Get yourself up here!
Get yourself
up there! And be prepared for what's coming to you!
You're guilty! You're a blasphemer!
Right, you and you! String him up! Pleasure.
Get him up there! Get him up there! We don't want these dogs! You led us astray for years, Jesus! You're not who you said you were! Stay up there! Get rid of him!
He saved others, but he can't even save himself.
I call upon these people here present to witness that you, Jesus of Nazareth, have been accused of the crimes of treason, blasphemy, and heresy. Heresy too. You have been accused and found guilty on all counts. Guilty of everything. Liar. You have been brought to this place of execution. And the Lord will take its course. May God have mercy on your soul.
Drummers, now! It is done! Finished! Accomplished! He's dead, Padre. It's finished. Hey, biker, come and get him down. Out of sight, out of mind. That's it, Padre. I need a stiff drink.
What in God's name was that all about? What on earth have we been looking at? I mean, for heaven's sake, somebody please give me a word of explanation. Now, if you've been thinking along those lines for the last couple of minutes, congratulations. You've half answered your own question. Because, of course, what we've been looking at is a modern dress version of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ on that first Good Friday nearly 2,000 years ago. But, of course, it was very much a modern dress version, so apologies to the traditionalists. But did you notice, for example, what the condemned man was actually wearing, that sort of orange jumpsuit affair? What's that all about? Well, of course, that's a grim reminder, isn't it, of the sort of clothing those poor victims of kidnap were wearing last year when they were murdered. Do you remember those horrible pictures on our TV screens and on the front of the newspapers? That's the sort of thing they were wearing when they were killed. And the condemned man, as he made his way up the high street, what were the crowd calling out? This is a dead man. This is a dead man walking. And again, that's very much a modern reference, isn't it? Because I'm sure you recognize it. That's a line taken from, amongst other places, the Tom Hanks film, The Green Mile. I wonder if you've ever seen The Green Mile. I want to talk about that for a moment. The Green Mile is a very good film, but be warned, it's unbelievably grim. It's quite unsuitable for kids, or for the squeamish. But it's set in the execution block of an American prison in the 1930s, and tells of the last few weeks of the life of a condemned man, John Coffey. Please note the name and note the initials, JC. John Coffey, an extraordinary man with the most extraordinary powers imaginable. But of course, a man in the end who's executed. But one of the twists is that John Coffey was innocent. When he died, he didn't die because of anything he'd done. He died because of horrible things that someone else had done. So it's a very thought-provoking film. But this is the point we're making today. What was being presented to the world in the Tom Hanks film, simply as a thought-provoking story, that actually happened for real on that first Good Friday, nearly 2,000 years ago. And you don't need a PhD to figure it out. Jesus Christ, JC, an extraordinary man with the most extraordinary powers imaginable. Some would say godlike powers, died. But he died not because of anything that he'd done. He died because of horrible things that others had done. Now, to understand that, you have to realize that, of course, in Jesus' own day, the Jews of that time believed something about God. They believed that if a man or a woman broke the law of God, there was a very special way to put it right. And this is how you did it. If you broke God's law, the way to put it right was to sacrifice an animal to God as an act of compensation. That's what the word atonement literally means. Now, I think for a lot of us listening to that today, it's a strange idea. And I think if you love animals, a rather cruel and barbaric idea. But those Jews knew and believed their Bibles. And they believed that with the shedding of the animal's blood, a man's debt to God was paid and the slate was completely wiped clean. On that first Good Friday 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ was doing that, but for the whole world. On the cross, he was offering a sacrifice to God, but not an animal sacrifice. He was sacrificing himself to God for the entire human race. And of course that includes you and me here today. Now we all know that down the years, sometimes because of malice, sometimes because of ignorance, people have said, oh, it was the Jews that put Jesus on the cross. Oh, but wait a minute, wait a minute. When you stop and really think about it deeply, at what was actually happening below the surface, that Jesus was knowingly paying our debt, wiping the slate clean for us, you realize that, as Mel Gibson said, it wasn't the Jews particularly that put Jesus on the cross. So much as the entire human race, we were all responsible in one way or another in putting him up there. How come? Because our rebellion against our Creator made it necessary. So in that sense, we were all involved in putting him up there, and that's what the drama was all about. Did you not notice all the different types of people who in one way or another were involved in putting him up there and killing him? I mean, obviously there was the prison warder. Frankly, I think his performance deserved an Oscar. But it wasn't just him. Did you notice the businessman with the bowler hat? That was a surprise. Then, of course, there was the cleric with the cassock. There was the young mum with the baby. Then, of course, there was the reporter with the camera, the biker with those wonderful sideboards, and then perhaps the most surprising and shocking of all, the little old lady from Stamford High Street on market day. Butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, waggling her stick in rage as they put him up there to kill him. Mel Gibson was right. It was actually them. It was us. All of us in one way or another were involved in putting him up there. Because all men in one way or another have broken God's law and are in debt to their Creator. Jesus was up there paying the debt, wiping the slate clean. That's what happened on that first Good Friday. But what on earth happened next? Well, of course, if you've seen the film, John Coffey died. And that's the very last we ever see of John Coffey. But it wasn't actually like that for Jesus, because, of course, you know the old saying, you can't keep a good man down. You just can't. Only, of course, in Jesus' case, that's good man spelt with a capital G and a capital M, otherwise it doesn't work. Now, the day after tomorrow, Easter Sunday, in churches all over Stamford, there are going to be groups of people celebrating just precisely what did happen next. Do come along and find out for yourself what happened next. We'd love to see you. And in fact, there are groups of people actually here in the crowd today with details of all those Sunday services, what's happening, when it's happening, and so on. Do come if you possibly can. We'd love to see you. We're going to bring our Good Friday March of Witness to a close now by singing together one of the great hymns of the Easter season, When I Survey the Wondrous Cross.